Okay, so I just moved my dresser from the bedroom down here in the shop. And it fits pretty good right there. I'm going to use it for storage. You're probably thinking, Scott, why didn't you use your Dovetail Jig and make some drawers? Make a drawer bank. Well, I did. See? 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 Oh, what's the matter with that? Nothing wrong with that. You may recognize that box. It's from one of my most famous videos, my most popular video, how to set up and use the Portacable Dovetail Jig. I'll put a link down in the description. There's a little slide out right there. You can click on that if you want to watch that. But before you do that, you may want to watch this one first because I'm going to go a little more in depth on how to set up the router so you get the best results from the jig. Also, I got a lot of comments and suggestions for this box from my viewers. And at the end of this video, I'm going to take your comments and suggestions and we're going to make some improvements to this box. So stick around for that. One of the questions I received was, Scott, which router are you using? Here it is. Okay. This thing's been going strong, works like a champ. I got it a long time ago as a gift from my wife, actually before we were married. And I've had it for several years. I did have to replace the brushes and bearings in it. They burn up. I don't care what router you have, it's going to burn up if you use it a lot over a long period of time. So you can have your brand loyalty and feel good about that with your Ford and your Chevy and whatever you're doing. But it's going to burn up because everything that's human made is bound and set to a path of self-destruction. Everything in this world, in this life, is in a state of decay. Okay? Whatever, Scott. Let's see what's in the box. Okay, so let's see here. There it is. Simple, cheap, fixed base router. Comes with this plastic base plate, comes with this plastic base plate, and this one actually will accept the guides, template guides, okay? Came with this newspaper, cable, a 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch collet, which is up there in my bit box, and this concentricity gauge.
Concentricity. In geometry, two or more objects are said to be concentric, coaxial, or coaxial when they share the same center or axis. The opposite of concentricity is eccentricity. Eccentricity is a measure of how much a conic section deviates from being circular. That's great, Scott. Ha 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 ha. Great, Scott. Get it? Lol.
This is the magic thing right here. It came with my router. You can buy these separately. I'll put some information in the description box and with the part number, and you can go get your own. My template guides are in this box. Here's the template. 2 of them anyway. Here's the Dovetail Jig. I'll have that out. Actually, there is the base plate that accepts the template guides. Conveniently in there, here are the template guides. Looks like we'll use the larger one. That should be all I need for that. Okay? Put this back over here 3 feet away on the shelf. So here is the template guide, right? That goes into your base plate. See how that is? And the template guide, will ride over these tines here and dive into the wood when you're making your box joints, your through dovetails, your half-blind dovetails, finger joints, whatever you're doing. Okay, so you just tighten that on there. It doesn't have to be cranked on with a pair of channel locks. Just tighten it on there. All right. Now I want to get this base plate on the router. First, I got to take this base plate off. Okay, I have the base plate and template guide mounted to the router. The screws are a little bit loose because I wanted to show you something. I think that means when you have a bit in there and you're trying to use this as a guide to cut with. This is all the way over here. The distance from the guide to the cutter head on this side is going to be less than this side. So if you don't have one of these tools and you're setting up your router and you feel cool and you got your template guide in there and you're psyched and you're getting ready to do the thing and you slap that down on there and you tighten it all up and whatever, and then you go to cutting and you move this around. Let's say you set this down and you go outside and take a break, have a cigarette, whatever habit you got going on in your life, I don't care. Then you come back in and you grab the router this way and you start going through there. Your depth of cut is not going to be consistent because of this. So that's where this tool comes into play right here. I put this together. It's not glued or anything, but I wanted to show you. If your cuts are inconsistent, you're going to see pockets. See? This is me dialing this in. Look. Right? I'll tighten this up and show you how I get that as centered as I possibly can. This is really going to screw you if you're not paying attention to that. And then you're going to blame the tool or the router, and you're going to send it all back to the box store and yell at the people there. And then you're going to come over into one of my videos and leave some weird comment. The base plate is still loose. What I want to do is put the cone in there, the centering tool, make sure that the base plate is not touching it. Tighten the collet. Now I'm going to adjust the adjustment screws so that the base and the template guide go into the cone. Just like that. Snug. Right? Give it a little wiggle, make sure everything is snug onto the cone. Now, before I tighten these, I'm going to lock this down too. Give these a little snug. Like that. And now I want to get the cone out. And that's that. Now, this thing is going to be as dialed in as it possibly can be to get consistent cuts across all of your pieces. And you always want to do some test pieces first before you dive into your material that you're going to use for your project. And when you do your test pieces, make sure you use the same material that you're going to use for your project. Don't use 3/4 inch test pieces and then make your drawer boxes out of 1/2 inch. Use the same material to test with, okay? Now, it's time to have a little fun. We're going to fix this box up based on your comments and suggestions. Some of the suggestions you had were,
It needs handles.
You need to put a locking
maybe
latch
some
on there.
protective maybe if you had some wheels on the bottom. You need to put hinges on it. Line the inside with fabric.
I don't know what you think you're doing.
Bongo music
Who do you think you are anyway?
If that was my
Maybe
box,
you should have used some bingo lights inside.
you're not a woodworker.
Thank you for all those comments and suggestions. But before we get to the big reveal, I want to thank all my subscribers for your support and all the new subscribers that have jumped on board. I hope you're enjoying the videos. I know a lot of you have received or bought yourself as a Christmas present, the Porter Cable Dovetail Jig, and you've had a lot of questions, and I'm trying to help you out as best as I can. But you should have a good time with it now that you know how to set up your router and you've watched that video. There's a slide out again on how to set up and use the jig. And without further ado, based on your comments and suggestions, here it is. Ain't she pretty? Look, we got the protective corners on there. We could put some handles on it. You guys wanted some handles. Look, I got some brass hinges on here and a couple of latches to keep people out of there. Put some wheels on it. And this here, this is so you can set up a come-along or something in the rafters and you can lift the lid off. And then inside, look, I got a sound system in there, a place for my cottage cheese and my sunglasses. Got an extra latch in here. And look. What's this? This is definitely not the new Yankee Workshop. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
And now, some bongo music.